Time to see who can actually come out on top in this epic 3-map series that it's gotten to. Maybe a 3-map series that shouldn't have gotten to the third. I have to say, some shenanigans from Bad News Eagles towards the end, middle, and most parts of Ancient did make it more hard on them than perhaps was necessary. And that's what gives Heat a chance to come back into the series.
Yeah, knife round being won out by the Heat side as well, coming into our last map of the series. But I think I share in your sentiment the fact that this is a... I mean, we maybe shouldn't even be on this third map. Bad News Eagles had it within their reach. I think it was 15-10 before Heat started answering back, and Bad News Eagles just couldn't bring it over the line. Heat winning that second map in overtime. So both teams exchanging their map picks is... probably not what you would have anticipated coming into this game. It was strange to see how much more alive Heat seemed to be coming into that second map, strangely enough. Not their pick in the series, but certainly put the Bad News Eagles side through their paces. So now to see how things will fare on Inferno, and you'd have to expect that Bad News Eagles will have gone through far more repetitions, not only from the fact that they've had a larger amount of time to work with this 5-man roster on this map and shouldn't have many difficulties ahead of them. But if you're going to have any sort of reliance in your practice schedule and the way that you integrate these players in time for all these qualifiers, not only for Brazil, but the European RMRs are closely approaching as well, Inferno is going to have to be a staple of your map pool, and we'll have to see how things go out. Rigon very quickly out towards the A bomb site, but they're actually getting clustered up. The smokes aren't doing them many favors either. Flashes as well onto their own teammates, and Exorcist has already dealt with one, only for Rigon to answer back, but now a flurry of frags come in for B&E. 2-on-3 for the post plant.
The light hit coming out from Boiler is able to give them a lot to work off of, and now Maka and Joko left with barely anything themselves. Joko tries to come through, pairs it up with the Maka flashbang, and as soon as the peak will come forward, they will find absolutely nothing. The T side, having cleared out the entirety of the bomb site, will now move into a reface. One flat to lead the shots, and Nopsy to follow through, and some flub shots from one end means that Nopsy will be able to finish it off on the other. Bad News Eagles get their pistol round. This is their first in like 3, I think. They got the second pistol round of Vertigo, but that's the only one they had so far.
Yeah, they didn't win any on Ancient, right? So that was one of the saving graces for Heat when it came to that second map. So of the last 3, this is their first. That remains true. Heat will reinvest.
Conversion, however, was something Heat was not able to do after winning out their pistol. Let's see whether this time they can try and inflict a similar fate onto their opponents.
Boosted scout, and you can see they're wary of it. Some shots to at least deter Maka from sticking around. But a slow approach here from B&E, now taking over the apartments, pre-firing the angle, expecting Maka to be there, and he had only given it a jiggle. Bullets came quickly afterwards. Rigon's got his kill over at B all the meantime, though. Lucky will be left to his own devices over at B, and Exorcist gets there a little too late to do much of anything. Smoke down, bombs still far away from this bomb site. So some time that can be played around with.
Yeah, the CT's just choosing to save over here seems so strange after the amount of... okay. After the amount of clutch attempts and whatnot we actually saw coming out from Heat in the first map as well. Marker, I mean, that 1-on-3 there where he got all 3 kills but couldn't defuse, to mine in particular. Obviously, a lot easier to try and go for those in overtime when you've got money for days.
Naka feels like a dead man walking. Scout shots keep getting missed, and Scenario will even go in for the shank. So extra money in the pocket. That was all he really wanted to do with the MAC-10, but does so, well, much better with a knife. 1,500. He'll take it every day. And now another round in which he can build up more bank. USPs are likely to come out. Maybe some upgraded pistols at most for the Heat side. Not even that.
Time to see whether Scenario can get the farm going.
Hey man, a pistol, a conversion, and keeping most of your players alive for your efforts. All great ways to kick off Our third map.
Well, Ecstasy is going to be dead very soon. VXX, however, is the one who's making most of the cleanup possible. Picks up his first 4 of the game. Is very happy with that and how it's gone.
Yeah, up
Question
to 8K.
is, are they going to T-side up, though?
I don't imagine that'll happen until they are forced to reinvest into weaponry, basically.
Okay.
GXX can always upgrade, but a Galil is good enough.
A lot of focus down on second mid with only Synopsy actually left behind, and this is going to be a slow creep forward back to apartments, and apartments which is largely unoccupied. HEET has chosen not to keep any of their players nearby, actually. Not even looking to contest in from short, so they are completely giving up all of Banana and all of Brackets. This is so much map control given up. It feels like it is an impossibility to win a round out without just hitting every single shot. Scenario, though, inside the Flames has been heavily tagged, and that's information given up as a result of it. Minute and 10, and the leg shot will mean Maka's death is nigh. Erasmo, the only one to actually find a frag, and I don't think they've realized that Synopsis moved fast, but with the CT players on B that far back, it is easy enough for Ecstasies to come through and pick up the few kills that were still there. Bomb left behind in apartments, and that gives them time to rotate back on closer to the bomb site itself, but GXX will have a plant nonetheless.
Trying to plant alongside that flash blooming, so maybe a small window of opportunity here for GXX, hoping that they split up, but playing together are the HEET side. Plants it in such a way that he can contest from short or go into the apartments, and if they get that bomb pressure on nice and early, would actually force some sound cues out of GXX. No kit on either of these players, so a full 10-second defuse, and they've smoked out the apartment, so this is awkward. Nade won't make it, and neither will the molly in time. Tried to win out by utility, but just too detached, and very well done from HEET to also limit his options. Took the one route that they were accounting for with the utility they had.
I'm amazed that Bad News Eagles even actually loses out the advantage over there after Maka falls. And sure, Scenario's forced off by the Molotov over there, but when Maka goes down and you've got such an incredibly defensively positioned CT side, sure, the B side rotates are supposed to be faster, but by the time they get there, there's still plenty of space to swarm through because of the access you're giving through, maybe not as much apartments, but very much so through short and arches. But instead, they decide to push forward. The Ecstasies double kill ends up giving HEET the advantage, and well, that's another advantage found not by HEET this time, though.
Extremely brave there from Maka to make that play, but I mean, he's been on a heater. Has had a great start to both these games. Now starting the third map with a 0-5 score. Joko will at least get one back, so man advantage isn't held on to too long here by the B&E side. Extra smoke recovered, and Joko will deploy it. Uh-oh, Synopsis passed, and they smoke CT. Joko, they know he was last seen round the backside of this smoke. Not really anything they can do to contest this. Might even try and build the boost late in, but no, Spam's actually right on the money. Lucky doing most of the damage, but Joko finishing off the frag, and a 4-on-3 where these smokes won't last forever. B&E don't have any more utility to help stall as well. Only a singular Molotov that remains after the bloom of the coffin smoke, but HEET have time to play with. No kit once again, but they've got util to limit options.
Yeah, this is going to be a real hard time for Scenario as he's forced back into peeking forward into 3 players. Synopsy does give him a whole lot of space with a quick goal triple. GXX is just there to put the cherry out on top, but Synopsy's the man who's really made the whole cake.
I mean, everyone was blind. We're looking at the perspective from the back of the bomb site, but three players swing CT and they're flashed up. That's what allows Synopsy to just continue spraying away as the HEET side decide to re-aggress into them. Really awkward looking retake. They had the numbers, they had the util, but Banyu's Eagles hit the frags quicker. Down to pistols now are the CTs, and Joko's already instigated. Well, okay. The solo B player actually went for the peek. Bold move. It's worked out, and now that he's sustained a headshot, decides he's done enough.
But I'm just hoping that this isn't just going to be another opportunity for Bad News Eagle where they end up squandering it out to the Eagles and the like. Now, Joko will be forced off initially, but Marcus 5-7 will be perpetually deadly. And right now, as he pushes out, he will be found out and mitigated early into things. So, still, control not been lost, and that's good to see. Bad News Eagles, despite losing out that first member, are still going to be able to get a safe plant through and down.
Even less to work off of. The only kill that they got was over towards bottom banana, but not sure if B&E have done their due diligence, thrown that gun over the wall or not. Either way, they've still got GXX to keep eyes on the prize. Need to get some proper distance from these bomb site these days. Ancient not the only one that's had adjustments. The Inferno ones existed for a lot longer, but still catches people out. All exiting through CT. Wonder if anyone's going to try and hunt to see if that gun is still inside banana. Rasmo will give it a look. He's trying to get a kill at the tail end. Instead will be a kill given to the B&E side instead. No gun retrieved at banana either, so we'll have to go for a full reinvestment here on the side of Heat. Bad News Eagles up to a 5-1 jump start on Inferno, and they're doing a great job of continually applying pressure over at B, especially these banana fights. It feels like Rigon is commanding a lot of space. I think that's one of the shining lights from even the Ancient from B&E. They actually were doing a great job of maximizing their presence around the map. We talked a little bit about how the balance changes had affected the T side and how quickly they get out middle. B&E would only send like 1 or 2 players there. Dangerous duel for Synopsy to have gone for. Around that smoke, there was a small gap that Joker just exploits.
Yeah, the A one's still pretty damn good over there. Let's not forget that. And, well, actually, they've stuck to the A1 on everyone. Don't know if that's inertia or just an active decision to do so. But in the meanwhile, Juan Pracho has also gone ahead and been chunked down to 57. Will make it a little bit more difficult to actually start to proceed through the short angle, especially with Maka and the company already having rotated over. There are 4 CTs here, so somehow it is a 4-on-3 potentially. Bad News Eagles started to push forward. Well, that's what happens. Rasmo picks up the first. The boost is dismantled, and Exorcist isn't done yet. Leaves Rigon all alone at the bottom of banana. He may have the bomb, but he doesn't have a chance.
Oh. Yeah, Lucky wasn't scared. Knew he did so much damage the first swing round. Rigon had very little legs to stand on. In fact, crawling probably into that peak. Second for Heat, and a good point you bring up, the fact that so many players are on the A1S. We've seen a lot of teams transition to sort of like a 50-50 split even internally. But this is one of those maps that, especially when the A1S got buffed, I think people were talking a lot about how it's that much harder to deduce where players are positioned because, you know, an M4 firing off, you can use your internal sonar to suss out the spot you're getting shot from just as quickly as you hear the sound cue. A1S, it's a little harder to piece that one together. Might be map
Once to the gut of Joko. I think it really is, and I think that is the best place for CS to go to, where, you know, map-wise you do choose to, like, you elect to use different weapons. I would love to see like a map like Cobblestone with super long corridors and everything brought back to see whether, you know, we have more of the AUG played out and whatnot. I genuinely think that should have been sort of the goal for CS, but I have to hold that idea, and that point is Maka is still gonna hold down and actually miss out the shot completely, not even clipping the player through the wall or anything like it.
Look around for a little longer as well to see if they progressed up short, but all these smokes that are down, they actually want to wrap into the A bomb site. Lucky will be here in time to at least show some presence. Some spam will connect on Rigon, but they've slowed to a halt here, B&E.
It's not going to be doing them any favors either. Fortunately, they will be able to avoid the damage, but Rigon is gone. He is pushing in through the smoke. One Placho as well, as Sineri are caught trying to dip in their toes to the CT spawn, and Synopsy, buddy, You don't know it, but you're really just already
Yeah.
dead. The bomb being tapped in, the digits being punched, and he's being punched out.
Exorcist just reveals himself from dark and screams, "You thought we left this bomb site." Not this time. Heat very aware of what the possibilities were, especially after B&E slowed to a halt. Going through that arch smoke was certainly a risk, but one that doesn't pay off for them. Heat chomping at their heels now. B&E on bad money. Not bad enough that I don't expect them to buy, given what we saw from the ancient regulation. Or maybe they've had a talking to. Only buying as low as 1,300.
Out on Joko. Once again, he's been tagged up, but this time he actually ends up taking the duel home with him. Lucky's there to assist in that department, and another grenade, and GXX is feeling the pain. A lot more than he bargained for.
One of the first times we'll see Heat build this boost in CT as well. It's been something that's been getting cleared from B&E in a number of the rounds just by procedure. But now actually could catch them off given how clear it's been these past few. Small gap for Lucky, and GXX is within an inch of his life. Ooh, another molly dropped over to Lucky, so we can actually throw a secondary if he sees that they're close.
Oh, good buy, one far true. Nice to see Lucky being able to tap that man out, especially with how deadly these players can be with Eagles, but the ETs will actually preserve that economy pretty damn well. And despite the fantastic start that Bad News Eagles was able to get down to, this is still going to end up being Heat slowly and steadily climbing their way back up. Good kill, or rather good attempt through that wall. It is a headshot to Marco through a deagle, but the wall bang makes it ineffective.
Yeah, because Maka's the CT player, even if he goes to challenge GXX, kind of a death sentence, so they look to contain, just hoping that GXX is around that area, but I think they're also going to give him enough respect to simply hold. Need to build up their own money here on this CT side. Got to play the long game. Still many more rounds to play out this half. Heat certainly stabilizing. Sure, there's a GXX ult to worry about in this follow-up, but B&E shouldn't come in with any significant buy.
Oh,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are you really going to say that after Ancient, Michael?
I know, this is the same sort of preface I tried to lay out in the round prior, but they didn't go for it, and I guess because GXX saved the AWP, you know, this is what they were saving for. Still gonna have to do some quick calculations, get the abacus out, make sure that they've got enough utility. Maka still on 0 kills. Feel like he's shown his presence. But I think one of the shots that felt like it could have been a conversion ended up being a leg. You know, that was several rounds ago. He's had a few misses in there as well, but hasn't mattered when the riflers are showing up. We've seen some good work from Joko over the series. Lucky as well, doing some nice work over on this B-bomb site, in spite of the fact that to start off this game, B&E were very controlling in that area.
Bad News Eagles are playing such an incredibly passive early banana round this time over. Most likely because of the lack of utility, but the problem for Heat is they've given it up immediately after that. I don't... They must not be a... like, this is so much confidence to give up banana to this extent, and not just that, but actually play double CT afterwards.
Same setup they did last time, but last time
Yeah.
Joko was lower HP.
Last time, it feels like you were also dealing with a bit more utility and the like too, though.
Well, it's pulled a third player over to the B-bomb site, so what little presence that B&E have shown Heat seem convinced that it will be some sort of a B-sided finish, and they've instead subverted expectations and gone back to middle. Brackets is empty. They sit inside of the site and on top of balcony. So the arches is a hole that can be exploited. 30 seconds. They can actually wrap this A site rather quickly and commit to a full-on crunch. This is going to really test both Rasmo and Exorcise.
Exorcise. Worried about a pop through the smoke, and he would be right to worry about it, but there aren't any flashes that he's turning around from. Picks up a quick double. Rasmo needs to hold down the line. Sceneri being tagged up, but he's done his job and distracted while the bomb is planted. So at the very least, an extra bit of cash infusion to come through, but what they need is a bullet infusion to the CT side, and that is one IV that it doesn't feel like will be connecting anytime soon. Flashbang there, Sceneri. Good kill. GXX with a follow-up does bring it back to a 2-on-2. Sceneri still with a chance in it. Maka is just going to try and stick out the defuse. The question is he going to get it completely? Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Scenario had to do a double take there. He saw the wires just around the box and he thought, oh, well then, it's kind of over. It's planted the wrong side of the box for him to do anything about it. Solo HP while Scenario as well had to try and go for a jiggle peek just in case he had simply tapped. Really hard position to play, and given the limitations that they had on both health and the positions that they had in those post plants, Heat were all over them. Never dealt with Rasmo in the pit. This time they're a little bit more forward in their approach to B. Throwing nades, sticking around for a little longer. B&E dodge out most of the utility damage and instead will take it slightly later. And yeah, they peel back into the bomb sites once again. We have seen some risk-taking here from Maka in the early stages of this half, and it hasn't always panned out, as you can see reflected in his scoreboard, but still fancy the peek down second middle. B&E forward, front side, smoke, and Rigon's close by. Lucky prepared for that fight, but Rigon just completely bypasses him, and Joko's left alone as a secondary player here in Exorcise, and the nades won't do a whole lot for them. In fact, more damage to CTs than the other way around. 4-on-4 for the post plant, but I'm not sure that Heat will really want to go for this. They are low in their efforts, and their only ways into the bomb site are going to be from construction and CT. The flank from the A players down middle is far too late, it feels. Still going at it. Still giving it an attempt.
I'm all you can, but Rasmo comes in from the side. Synopsis has been knocked out cold, and the last very last 10 seconds of it, they're still trying to go for it. GXX will just be able to play it out and make sure that no one can actually scale back onto the bomb site, but he will lose his life in the process of doing so. Heat, at the very least, contain them to the point where they're actually forced to lose out men, but it feels like they went for that retake attempt so damn late that they are the ones who end up taking more economic damage than perhaps was necessary. Puts them in a situation where you are now truly vulnerable to Bad News Eagles once again running away with the half if they win out this next round.
Yeah, just a sheer lack of urgency from those A players to just commit to the flank. If they were going to go that route, they had to be quicker about it. I think just hesitating, expecting someone to be lurking on the Bad News Eagles side, as they typically implement on many other maps. But no, playing together and clustering up, that was the plan. Fast to be they are this time, and Joko's unexpected flash from Scenario actually doing more harm than good. Lucky will keep them at bay as well with the smoke deployed and has reinforcements en route. They've sectioned them off. Exorcise all the way down second middle. Can now move T steps and make sure that if they are going to go anywhere, it has to be B.
I kept up, but Synopsis actually discovered him, and he has found the kill immediately, going in for a second. Rasmo, the only one who can seem to fight back in this position, and as the smoke will bloom, Synopsis will not stop, not anytime soon. Exorcist left alone in the 1-on-2. Michael, this is looking like the direst of circumstances for Heat are assembling and coming together. Double Molotov out. He might have picked up all the doohickeys he can, but this round is looking impossible, especially when Synopsis comes out and just pulls together a quad kill single-handedly, taking over the entire B bomb site.
Yeah, and did so stutter stepping into each of these angles. So fantastic work there from Synopsy, reading the positions. So as well from Exorcist on that flank, it's almost impossible. You know, you have such a commanding spot and you lose everybody on the stacked bomb site. That's gonna suck. You know, he had no read on where B&E were gonna set up in the post plant. Thought they would be new box and dark and playing from there, but they pushed construction instead. Had he known what we knew, you know, he had the perfect util set to actually maybe even pull that off. You know, smoke on the bomb or smoke CT and Molotov off construction would have made it near impossible for B&E to contest that without challenging through a smoke, and that's a death sentence. I think HEET can recognize that this game is slowly slipping through their fingers. B&E I've also been mixing up the pace. You know, they've not just been barreling over to Banana. That's been where most of the presence has been in the early stages of the rounds, but they've also been doing a good job of sort of dodging the nades that HEET keep throwing at them. Sometimes they are going for deep double nades and throwing some Banana control utility from that CT side, but not always committing with it. Feels like they're not putting both feet in one pot. Good double nade.
Goodbye, right? Really hoping that he can maybe come through and pull off some of those little plinks that Joko is delivering with the 5-7 as well. But nah, man, it just feels like, again, not to beat on a broken drum. But that one round where he chose to go for the very late retake attempt, it just feels like that's exactly what's coming back to bite them, and it's sort of funny because that's actually the way that... No, hold the point, because I can see he has picked up an AK, but Molotov out in his hands, and that's not the right weapon for the job. He had a real opportunity there, but unfortunately not one he can make use of.
Yeah, I mean, with the urgency and how quick he got both those kills, thought he had a moment of respite, but no, there was another one where that came from. Unfortunate. Some good damage, all in all, from HEET on what was effectively a no-buy, and Bad News Eagles are still going to be in winning ways. Reinvestment from HEET is substantial. Marco back on that AWP, but he has not been with this weapon. Wouldn't even land the leg. Offered up half a body, but makes no connection. Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's just egregious to even try and push through the smoke after you've been grenaded down. That's asking for it. Still, opportunity perhaps to be created if Synopsy is able to find another magical round. Smoke out from Joko to try and fake out the... Actually, no, not even try and fake out. He just goes ahead and picks up the new box position instead. Okay. Yeah, this is BNE falling apart off the back of that push in through that. So again, just egregious. The idea that you do that after you've been knighted down without a flashbang, without anything like it. Yeah, scenarios left alone. He's also wondering what the hell to do here.
Might just be a read. You know, very likely that that's not the first time Marco will go for mid peaks and rotate like he did. So trying to take advantage of his absence over at the Archers, but yeah, they just didn't know that Exorcist was going to be so ready for a play like that. Certainly a gamble, but one that does not pay off. Scenario will try his best to piece as much as he can together, but out with a flash and out of the round. Could end up being a 8-7 half. Money's not ideal here for the Bad News Eagles either. About as close as can be, and maybe about as close as we've seen reflected in sort of map statistics over the past few months. T-sides do be winning more. Not by a large amount, but it's been creeping up on all the maps.
The adjustment period has certainly started to come ever since the A1 nerf has been there, yeah.
Getting four bulleted across the map by a weapon you can't see the tracers of. And
barely has any recoil, don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Erasmo. Molotov to go down close to Nopsy. He's going to be forced out, but he takes the duel and wins him out. Double low. Exorcist is pulling out the knife. Oh my days. If anything could be more egregious than that, it's the missed shots of Joko. Lucky is in a 1-on-5. No chance here whatsoever. He is really just begging for death, and it will be delivered. 9-6. Bad News Eagles extend the lead in a way we were not ready for, but are they ready for what the second half has in store? We'll find out after a short break.
A 9-6 half for the Bad News Eagles, a round that they probably shouldn't have won, but still managed to pull off quite handily. Great stuff to see from a squad that had Ancient right in their fingertips too. Let's see if they can actually convert on a pistol round to help bring us over the line. Yumi joined by Tea Time once again, and this will be our final map in what has been a pretty contentious series between two squads that are at very different parts of their journey. Bad News Eagles certainly trying to redevelop and expand their horizons. Heat trying to just find all the building blocks, and hell, they might have found a good piece. Rasmo's been fairly consistent this whole series and opens up this pistol round rather swimmingly. Rigon as well will chance his fate and doesn't get anything for his troubles. A 5-on-3, and the remaining players on the CT side We're converged at B. Not looking likely here for the B&E squad. HEET likely to take number 7.
It'll be difficult for BNE to really put up much of a retake attempt even. Honestly, this is one of those rounds where I even think about, is it worth it to just try to save even? Doesn't seem like it, especially with Scenario finding the kills with the smoke. That will tempt them a little bit more, but honestly, even if not for that, they would still likely want to be a little bit bloodthirsty about the matter. And as they start to inch forward, Rasmo just needs to make sure he isn't just cut off while he tries to buy time for XSCs by jiggling through. XSCs able to strike through. And yeah, GXX will save. Scenario's actually not got armor, so it's funny to see him going back to try and save, even if he does end up going down regardless.
Yeah, it looked nigh impossible. No kits, no utility. Hard stuff, and very individual fights there for the Bad News Eagles. Well, something that does go punished. It's strange that we have HEET as close a contest as it has been in this series, and on this map, him not being able to, or Maka not being able to find too much consistency on that CT side. Would only hope that as one of the star players, I mean, we saw just how good he was in clutch moments and just these late round situations. Now we're in the second half, he maybe sees a bit more activation. Smack 10 will at least be used to keep the CTs at bay. Scared them off of Banana at the very least. And let that be a warning. You need clustering inside of the sites, and with their tendency to force buy, of course the second round in the second half is no different. They've got a lot of smokes to delay time.
This is the point where for HEET, it's all about just making sure you don't end up falling down to these deagles and just tripping over yourself while you do so. See, grenade at his feet will make it a little bit more difficult. He was a tyrant in the entries earlier on, but this time over with just a bit, so it's significantly less opportunities for him to actually be able to strike in and strike through GXX. However, as he's rotated over, he's hoping to find a wallbang. If Marker had gone down, that becomes a lot more interesting. Recon in the meanwhile will fall. And one Flachu upgrades out his pistol to a deagle instead, just to fade away and look to fight another day. That's been the call given up. And I've got to say, with the kind of saves that we see now from Bad News Eagles and these force buys and these half buys and these ecos and even pistols at times, it's kind of strange to think how much of a different affair Ancient could have been if that's just the discipline they exercised.
Yeah, I mean, better to look forward than back. You know, you're often going to rue your decisions. Think what could have been, what should have been. No sense pondering on it. Lingering. Festering. And hey, if we were going to ask for a close game, feels like we're going to get it. HEET. Up to 8 now, and can very likely convert on a 9th, lest there be some level of shenanigans. Again, the Bad News Eagles are a hard team to call on these types of rounds, simply because so long as they have a deagle or a 5-7, something of the sort, there's always a chance. GXX will take a swing and a miss with the scout. Headshot not presented. Now instead landing to the torso of Rasmo, and he's asked for reinforcement, some sort of a flash or some sort of help. He will get it.
GXX are no longer trying to go for the same repeat, not with a Molotov at his feet. One flat through locating, eliminating Lucky. Does remind them that there is still always going to be some risk to this round at the very least. And with Synopsy actually moving forward, the flashbang doesn't come through fast enough, otherwise Joko could have been worse for wear as well as smoke at his feet, but it's one flat through who dies through it as they try and fade back to the A-bomb site. That's interesting. That's not a smoke that I understand what that's supposed to do, to be honest. But hey, smokes are smokes.
And Deegs are Deegs. Rasmo plucked out behind Exorcise. No problem. Recovered nice and healthy are the rest of the HEET players as well. So Scenario's P250 could get 1, but more than that will be difficult. Not a noise, and not even the one. Not a single connection on that pistol. So some nice kills here from B&E, but not likely they convert. Maka will finish the frag for GXX, and we have a tie game. Heat back into the swing of things, and so will B&E with a full buy. GXX on that AWPs as you would expect. And this is one of the differences that I think we will take a testament to. You know, Maka had the AWP a lot of times on CT side, but was unable to get production out of it. I don't think GXX will encounter many of the same issues. He's been one of the players with a hot hand. Even if he's been rifling or if he's been AWPing, he's been very present.
Off to the side, will end up cashing out. And obviously the boost up on top of logs is actually what gives Maka the entry. Heat will be very fortunate. Or they will be very happy. Maybe fortune has a lot less to do with it, but they'll be very happy to have found that one. And fully resetting back. No attempt to actually retake out Banana either. Even the spam coming through just to make sure that in case GXX is feeling like he can take a peek over, like he can take a gander, he should feel a bit more scared about it. Well, flashbang through, and Joko was really relying on these players being blinded out. Scenario, though, playing the perfect anti-flash position, and GXX to cover up one. Waits for the smoke to bloom. It will be missing up, but that forces him to re-peek in. A re-peek that Mako was ready to intercept. One flash through, though, right behind them all. He's good for the first, looks for the second, but it's Lucky who overruns and overwhelms. One flash did not wait for the digits to be punched in first. Instead, just takes the duels and will not win them out, at least not both of them. On. Once again, here's the digits being punched in, and now it's all down to him, and a one-on-one. Rasmo on the other side just strafes in and takes it home. Heat up to 10.
Yeah, I just didn't let Rigon escape. That was the main plan there for Rasmo, and I mean, great stuff there from Lucky. It just feels like such a missed opportunity from Juan Flatro. I mean, the fact that he's able to get that first kill, had he gone the left side of the new boxes, very likely he gets a secondary kill. Fountain got in his way and it didn't help him in the affair. He now overtaking, and hey, I mean, you call... I call him into question, and Mako delivers almost instantly, getting that boosted kill, but then also finding the trade on GXX. Did a lot for Heat there. Building that boost as well on Banana is non-easy feat.
Yeah.
So often if they're on the corner, they can simply pick you up just as you're assembling it, but nobody had eyes on it, I think, because of pre-nades that Heat had thrown on that corner.
I think it's even scarier up against a team like BNE, who like to get aggressive so often on so many of these players, but actually their passivity as a result partially of those grenades that you mentioned is definitely what ends up catching and forcing them off. And once again, man, this is just... I've got to say, these investment decisions make me very certain that I would not want the BNE players to be head of a portfolio management company.
Hey, I mean, full loss bonus, so...
Yeah.
Look at a decent lump sum from this round.
I mean, Rigon's going to be in a bad spot, though, regardless.
You can A1S and armor. That's enough for him.
I'm surprised you're not saying, well, he's still got money for a dig right now, so...
Who's to say he doesn't already have one?
There is a USB on the screen, so maybe that's all right. Oh, well. Regardless, BNE do want to at least give it one more shot or one more chance behind these pistols, and Rigon's Famas, which was going to be nowhere nearby actually to this B-bomb site hit, which is where Heat have been concentrating a lot of those attacks at, and that grenade's going to be very timely, very well placed, slows them down a fair bit, but the problem is Synopsys' life is already forfeit by the time it comes into play. One Flatcher with a quick tap through with a 5-7, as Scenari lies beside the smoke, but not inside it. There is another headshot to connect. One Flatcher even gets for more. It's 3 located and found, and with an AK picked up, suddenly things are getting a lot more dangerous. Rigon as well has now made his way over, being boosted up, and he finds another Rasmus position already known. They are going to try and double peek across even the jumping position, but Rasmus has been spectacular. Nothing can stop him. He has been a blessing in disguise for the Heat side.
Yeah, had some points of critique on Ancient, you know, sometimes getting overwhelmed or missing out on timings. On Inferno, he has not missed a beat. Not only won the one-on-one with Rigon, now as well a one-on-2 to bring Heat up to 11. I mean, you gotta be a little nervous there if you're Heat. A buy that didn't look that great if you were B&E, but still brought so close. This is where real tenacity can be fielded. Can be fostered. One more presence over to Banana this time over. B&E have been inside of bomb sites, but now they throw a deep smoke, so Heat will have to retake it late. Usually the priority is one of the extremities or the other, Banana or the apartments. Brackets is a nice little consolation as well. You want brackets for either of those plays. Right now there's no one really close by on B&E to contest that area of the map. Have Rigon, I think, boosted flower pots, so might fancy a peek.
Ready for the full side hit this time over, trying to posture back over to A instead. Rigon is here to intercept. He's good for the double before he straight it out, and with this, Rasmo needs to come into effect, but not in the way he was on the B bomb site. This is much more about the late round presence he's able to display to keep one Flacho down and out, who's somehow on the right bomb site every single time, it seems like. Lucky, last man left alive, and in a one-on-one with the bomb still down, retrieve the AWP, and he's aware of Synopsy's shenanigans and games, but as he fades back over, will give up the sound cue. Synopsy not committing into the full swing yet. Lucky goes forward, someone's been given up, and Lucky just keeps on winning. Quad kill. This time out over for him. Heat have got all the saviors in the one-on-ones.
I mean, all these clutches. It feels like they're just being chained round to round. They're barely scraping through in these moments, and I wasn't even thinking Rigon was going to get 2. You know, if he gets that 1 kill, then the trades are going to look much better there for Heat. They would have swarmed the bomb site. GXX's AWP would have effectively cut them down to 2 if the numbers theory is going to be applied with how that round played out. But some incredible awareness and just the right amount of respect as well. You know, Lucky's scoped in, and very feasibly could have been scoped in on Library or the Arches, but took the gamble that he was scoped in on his exact position, and he was right, but even still, Lucky played it to perfection. Gotta hurt losing so many close rounds like this, because we could have seen the exact same scoreline for Bad News Eagles. You know, they could have been on 12 instead.
Yeah, this could have been a lot worse for Heat right now, especially when you consider the T side just being pummeled in time and time again. Eventually, when you do lose a round, that's when you're expecting, if you're Bad News, you go, hey man, we're going to break the money, we're going to be fine, we're going to bring it back, we're going to bring it back, we're going to bring it back. But now it's getting to the point where it might just be extended too far out. Might be too far gone. I don't want to count any chickens, but I have been counting rounds, and Bad News Eagles have not gotten a single one of them so far on the CT side.
Yeah, 6 straight. Again, not for lack of trying.
Yeah, true. Isn't that the truth?
Well, it is a B-sided stack, and right now Heat are slowly progressing in that area. Haven't seen them pull off any fakes so far on this T side. Very committed to each of their ideas. Singular tick on the Molotov for Lucky. Only 3 damage, but a sound cue that's given via Scenari.
Oh, looks like it might finally be a break of commitment, as it is looking to lean into an A-sided hit. These lurkers and the bomb now actually angling over are going to be able to commit before the CTs are able to come into effect, and with the 5-1-4 already secured, one Flasher is likely going to want to save this M4, and with 25 seconds on the clock, the bomb can be planted very easily.
Yeah, the scary thing about doing this is that because they only move in with 20 seconds, you know, they didn't actually get confirmation on numbers how many would be. There could have just been Scenari as this coal mine canary, but instead they actually make the right call. B&E weren't curdled up inside of the A bomb site. Instead, they were B. Won't stop them from getting a kill or two, but round is certainly done.
Can you recover that gun if the bomb blows it over? That's the big question, I think.
It would make its way down bottom middle.
Yeah, so if you can pick that one up and take 2 forward, that will actually be a big boon to the economy. Not in the next round, you've got to bind regardless, but in rounds to come, sort of more than anything else. GXX has actually gone ahead and found another one who wants to continue to keep them contained, and Synopsis' discovery actually leads into what could be more damage dealt and more players dead. Lucky will end up going down to the bomb. Juan Flachu as well is comfortable to have punished as much as they did, so this keeps HEET's economy honest to the point where, again, theoretically speaking, 1 round away from reset.
Looks like something out of a movie. Juan Fletcher just sees his opponent die right in front of him. And they're going to have to be channel a little James Bond if they want to come back into this. You know, your protagonists, if you're a Kosovian fan, that's the Bad News Eagles. They are one of the teams that comes out of a region so underrepresented, yet they do so well when it comes to international tournaments, so well when it comes to majors. For HEET, it's about reinvigorating, rebuilding what was once a legacy of French Counter-Strike. Now feels lost.
Joko. Getting aggressive. Flashbang down under. Joko. Well, he's actually already lost out a teammate. Joko doesn't realize he's playing nearby. Juan Flachu with a double. Goes ahead and he's just able to pick them all up, and suddenly Bad News Eagles are going to find their first in a way where you start to think, how did they ever even lose any?
Yeah, hyper-mechanical aim there from Juan Flachu. It's one of those situations. I'm right there with you. You know, if they're going to shoot like that, well, how are they behind? We've had some great trading from HEET throughout, but also just how prevalent these B-side hits have been. It's difficult to say.
At this point, I mean, you've got to also start to look over towards HEET and go back to the same tired narrative I feel like I've been pushing consistently, that, hey, money's going to get broken. Money's going to get broken. Money, well, it's finally happened. It's broken. The Bad News Eagles should at least have a slightly easier time in the next few.
It's all about whether you can chain rounds together, and this will be a great opportunity to do so. We talked about how contentious so many of these rounds prior were, all the damage that had been done to the HEET economy. They're taking multiple timeouts to discuss how they counteract this. Not sitting on any sort of significant loss bonus because they've been winning. And not a lot left in the coffers because they keep on losing 4 or more players. So it's been a rough time. You know, you feel like you're in the lead, yet you know you're inches away from having that overturned. And Bad News Eagles, I think, will realize that themselves. They're going to buy around what little money they have. Again, singular loss bonus, so
yeah,
it's the way you squeak out as much as you can.
Give it the old, yeah, you might as well give it the old college try, right? Joko's the only one out here with both utility and a gun, and he's still got 500 left behind to spare. So my man was loaded. Meanwhile, though, it is going to be a much faster play this time over with the lack of weaponry to actually spur them on. And they are actually going through their own smokes. And this is going to be all the way fast forward. Juan Flachu covered off by Rigon, but he's been spotted out inside the bomb site. These pistols are trying to isolate the duels, but duels that are not going their way at all. Rigon comes up big with a triple, and it's given Synopsy time to push through the smoke as well. Lucky to recover the A4, but as he dodges out grenades, he won't realize there's only 4 bullets left in it. He's going to be forced back on the reload scenario. Tronic loads the distance. It's a one-on-one and twice over. Did isolate the duels and get the headshot as well, but unfortunately just isn't enough at the end of the day.
Scenario just kept pushing, and that felt like a surefire way to lose the round. You know, gave up those one-on-one fights, but full confidence that he was going to be able to convert on it, and he succeeds. Took a headshot for his troubles, but that's no problem. Lives to fight another day. Yeah, he did give it the old college try, but college ain't for everyone.
Find that out the hard way.
Yeah, me too, man. 13-11, and likely to be a 12th here for B&E. A lack of investments, a lack of funds here for HEET. P250s is about all they've brought forward. And, well, there's only the one of that, so I'm going to really try and shepherd Maka around, see what he can find. Don't think anyone's chancing a duel with a Glock. Used to sometimes look at these rounds. There was a period of time where CT sides would only buy, you know, Kevlar no head armor, because it was so hammered in that, you know, there's no need when you're on the CT side. And then you'd see rounds where people had Glocks or SMGs and they'd lose to them. And people have learned, like, if you've got the extra floating cash, you probably should, you know, just in case.
Especially if the other team's economy is destroyed, right?
Yeah. P250 becomes lethal at long range if you don't have head armor. Glock becomes lethal at sort of medium range.
Yeah, it's a hard life. That's for sure. HEET right now, though, are really playing out the let's hope the CTs use all of their utility and then maybe we can get a kill or two game. I like that game, but it is a very boring game to watch.
Ha, you used all your Molotovs. For what?
That's $3,000 in the bin. But who knows, they might be about to deliver 1,500 over. 8 seconds on the clock. Just got to make sure everyone dies here. Recon is at least ensuring the fact that the bomb cannot be planted. And, well, honestly, at this point, they might as well try and wait until afterwards. And actually, that's exactly what happens. Joko will be left with that money. Guys, that's why you got to be careful.
Yeah, almost a world where they could actually get a plant down, but they couldn't find the player on the cold zero box fast enough. Actually would have been more valuable if Joko had saved. You know, would have had enough money to buy armor, keep an M4, maybe buy some utility, but now he's subjected to a pistol. Tried to tee up a break in the Bad News Eagles economy, perhaps. Something that won't work out. Aggro move here from B&E. Recon will play close, and the AWP will cover. Flashes down deep from Banana, and a smoke as well to bloom in the face of those opponents. T-stairs, but Rigon's dealt with. The other R on the server, Erasmo, makes sure that he doesn't get much further. Uh-oh. Jump spotting. Synopsy, I think, just caught a whiff of Lucky, and won't connect on too many bullets, but the nade will be a sitter. 4T1. Joko's not healthy either.
Bad News Eagles have gone from having no rounds on the CT side to be able to at least put up a couple of numbers enough to make them feel like they're still in it. But this will be the big one. Let's not forget, this is their big chance to try and punish out the shenanigans from the previous round. Well, Synopsy will be able to chain them together. Some beautiful sprays coming out, but it is still going to be a 3-on-3 at the T side with plenty of time and some utility as well.
Yeah, Scenario actually swiped one away before Synopsy got the full transfer, but 1-1 apiece when they went for a double peek. About as good as it could have gone. Looks available for the execute, and so they'll sail over the B bomb site. They are very thinly spread here on the B&E side. Scenario's not moved a muscle since, and GXX's ult will be forced back. They've lost their handle on this bomb site, and it's not going to really click, or they're not really going to clock on here on the HEET side until a little too late. These smokes aren't going to last forever, and that Molotov is buying more time for the B&E side to regroup.
He's trying to cover off while the bomb is being planted, and he's going to be able to come through, find the double. GXX was initially the player left to try and anchor out the B bomb site, is still alive, and he is. Oh my god, if he's able to stick this one, not again. He can't get away with it every single time. Almost. But almost isn't good enough. 14 for HEET. How many does it feel? It feels like there's been so many just random steals of rounds like that. if you're extending all the way back to the beginning of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I was almost thinking that GXX might just win it. I wasn't sure how far they committed into construction, but I think they realized just as quickly as we did it was very feasible. That's why GXX didn't come off the defuse as well. You know, he only needed that extra half second to pull it off. Head was hard to hit. Couldn't duck his head down either because I think it actually would have taken him off the bomb. He went at max range. Need to maintain some sort of sight line, some sort of connection to that bomb. Money's dried up, but it's a rather luscious spray onto Erasmo. Kicked things off. Wasn't even reciprocated damage onto any of the B&E players. Wow, they're really trusting Scenario a lot here.
I mean, given the fact that he's pushing forward very aggressively as well, it feels like he's trusting himself a lot as well. Scenario, however, has instead decided to fade away, and they've even given him some backup to work off of as well. Why not? Synopsis coming from behind. This time over, GXX will not be the player on the B-bomb site, but you've got to keep in mind that there's 45 seconds left, and this T side have still got 3 Molotovs and 2 smokes. That's enough for a full-scale execute. Right around this B area. They've even got a grenade if they want to try and force Synopsis or the Scenario off, and that's exactly what they're trying to go for. But the flashbang is fantastic. It's good for the double. Synopsis even trying to delay for a while longer, but just loses his life with nothing to show for it. Deep Molotovs twice over. GXX would have been dead to the flames. Instead, he goes down to the bullet, chooses a swifter death. And HEET, well, they're knocking on the door of 15, and Rigon is trying to prevent it from being wrested open, but the furniture is breaking apart, and the woodwork, well, it's still got T stuck in it. Joko comes out of it, and Juan Flatru left all alone, a 1-on-3 with nothing to do.
And their money is in the bin. 2,400 a pop. Scenario the most with 3K. HEET are in prime position. I wasn't sure they'd be able to match up with what B&E have to offer. I think expectations are much higher for this Brand New Eagles squad because of how much they've impressed in major runs. IEM Brazil is a calling, but maybe not for the Kosovians. Maybe the French will make their debut. Still many more games to play, but hard to not get excited when the French major is coming up. If this starts an upward trend, it would certainly be something. SMG from Scenario does find Joko, and Rasmo and Lucky will trade even. 1 apiece. They are low HP on Lucky, so they're not counting their chickens just yet, but a 4-on-3 advantage. This will again stretch out the defenses of B&E, and they already had so little to work off of in terms of weaponry. This is where we talked about during this series. Slowing down when you have an advantage. B&E don't like working off of no information.
This is the stage where GXX is going to start to pray for a miracle and a fantastic highlight round. He's had a few of those, most of them concentrated in Ancient, but hell, man, any one of these players with the Deagle can be fantastic. And right now, it's not just him, it's Juan Flatru on the side. So if this ends up being a funnel in through short with very little time left for the T side, it could be problematic. But look at this, the perfect call has been made. HEET juggling back to the B-bomb side, and this rotation. Bad News Eagles, oh no! This is still going to be a commitment to A, and they might end up being caught off, but the question is, are they going to be found out and wrap around to the back of B? The bomb is yet to commit, and they are getting unsure, they're getting uncertain. GXX has got long-range angles with the Deagle, needs to start hitting some shots while Juan Flatru is ducked away, and he finds nothing! Absolutely nothing whatsoever. Time may have ticked low, but it's ticked out as well for the Bad News Eagles. Rasmo to finish it all out, and this will be the 16th. What a way to come through and do it. This is absolutely fantastic stuff coming out from the HEET side. I did not expect them to be able to clean this one through, especially after what we saw on that first map. They're on that pick.
Yeah, and even that last call, I mean, I was nervous for HEET there because they seemed to make the right decision. Then they bounce right back into almost the wrong one. Yeah, this was a hard series to call, I think, from the get-go.